Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be taking you through the tension gambit arises after declining the Scandinavian defense, and it's a very good opening which can surprise Scandinavian players, and I believe with this video it will make you very strong and very solid to play against Scandinavian defense, which begins after e4 d5, the Scandinavian defense. So here we deviate with knight f3. After d takes e4, we play knight d5. Now, black has a variety of choices to pick on, but we're going to look at each by turn. Black can try pawn f5. Black can try knight f6. Black can try bishop f5. Black can try queen d5. And we're going to look at each by turn. Okay, so let's begin with the first one. Let's begin with knight f6. And after d3, attacking the pawn which is on e4. If black wants to be pawn ahead, they have to take the pawn which is on d3. So after e takes d3, we develop another piece which is bishop times d3. If black plays h6 to chase the knight which is on g5, then we play knight takes f7. After king takes f7, then we bring the strongest move in the game. We play bishop g6. And after king takes d6, we play queen d8, taking a free piece. Let's go back. We are going to look at queen d5. After queen d5, we play d3, attacking the pawn which is on e4. And after e takes d3, there are two choices which you can pick on. And all these choices are good. We are going to begin with the first one. In case of bishop times d3, remember the pawn on g2 is a free piece. If queen takes g2, then we play bishop e4, attacking the queen and attacking the pawn which is on b7. Remember, the queen has only one square to go, which is queen g4. And after queen g4, we take the queen, and after bishop takes g4, we play bishop b7, winning the rook which is on a8. Let's go back. Knight c3, gambiting another pawn. After queen e5, then we play bishop e3. D takes c2, then we unleash another tactic. We play queen d8, check. After king takes d8, we play knight f7, getting back one of the pawns. And after king e8, then we play knight times e5. After bishop f5, then we play knight d5. Now, if you look at this battery, this knight is threatening to play knight f7. This knight is attacking the pawn on c5. And also this one is threatening to play knight f7. So the king is overwhelmed. In case of knight s6, we just take the knight on s6. After pawn takes bishop s6, then we play knight c7. King d8, then we play knight takes a8. And remember, we are threatening to play knight f7. And the king has no way of defending it. And also the bishop has to fall back. Remember, if the bishop falls back, the pawn which is on c2 can fall. Even the pawn which is on a7 is going to fall, and the knight can use this route to come back. Let's go back. So we have looked at knight f6. We have looked at queen d5. Now we are going to look at bishop f5. After knight c3, they play knight f6, holding on to the pawn. Then we play queen e2, a sneaky move. So black has two choices. Let's begin with the first choice. If knight c6, then we play queen c4, threatening to take the pawn which is on f7 and checkmate in one. So after e6, then knight g takes e4, knight times e4, knight times e4. After bishop e7, then we can play knight g3, attacking the bishop. And if the bishop falls back to g6, then we can launch our attack by playing pawn h4, which is giving us a wonderful attack. Let's go back. After queen e2, in case of queen d4, then we begin with queen b5 check. The queen is checking the king, at the same time attacking the bishop which is on f5, and also attacking the pawn which is on b7. that is a triple attack. After bishop d7, then queen takes b7. So after bishop c6, then we play a stronger move in the position, which is bishop b5, pinning down the bishop against the king. So after queen d7, then we play bishop takes c6, queen takes c6, then queen c8 is a checkmate. Let's go back. So we have looked at knight f6, we have looked at bishop f5, and we have looked at queen d5. So now we are going to look at f5. After f5, we play bishop c4, attacking the pawn, threatening to flank our knight on f7. After knight h6, defending that square which is on f7, then we play d3, hitting in the center. So if black wants to be ahead by material, they have to play e takes d3, and after c takes d3, they'll play e5, opening up for the bishop to come in the game and also trying to get more space in the position. After queen b3, emphasizing that our this diagonal belongs to the white side. Then black has to play queen e7, and after knight c3, there are two choices which black can pick on. We are going to look at each by turn. So in case black plays pawn c6, then we just go ahead and do short castling. When black plays b5, then we take the pawn on b5 with the knight. After c takes b5, then bishop goes to d5. So remember, the bishop is attacking the rook, which is on a8. If, for example, black plays bishop b7, then the queen can take the pawn, checking the king, and then later it can take the bishop, which is on b7. So let's go back. In this position, we have looked at c6, so we are going to look at knight d7. After knight d7, we begin with short castling. So the knight has 3 squares where it can be. So you're going to look at each square by turn. So in case of the first one, in case of knight b6, then we play bishop f4. Remember, the pawn can't take the bishop because the rook can come and pin the queen against the king. So knight takes c4, queen takes c4. After c6, then we play rook f e1. So knight f7 is trying to challenge the knight which is on g5, and also trying to remove this attacker so that the king can go either long castling or short castling in the future. So bishop takes e4. Now there are 2 choices which black can pick on. In case black plays queen takes knight on g5, then we can just play bishop f6, winning the queen and the game. Let's go back. So knight takes e5, then we play queen f4, strengthening our knight on g5, at the same time attacking the knight which is on e5, and black has no way of defending against knight which is on e5 because it is being pinned down by the rook. So after h6, challenging the knight which is on g5, then we play rook takes e4. After h takes g5, then rook takes e7, winning the queen and the game. So let's go back. So we have looked at knight b6. So now we are going to look at knight c5. So in case of knight c5, we begin with queen c2, and after c6, then we play rook e1. After b5, attacking the bishop, then we play d4. D takes c4, then we play rook times e5. Knight e6, then we play queen f4, attacking the pawn in this on c6, threatening check and winning the rook, at the same time threatening to take the pawn which is on c4, adding more firepower to the knight which is on e6. So rook b8, and after knight times e6, bishop takes e6, then we play d5. Remember, the pawn has been pinned down by the by the queen, so it can't take the pawn which is on d5. So after king f7, running away from everything, we play rook times e6. After queen b4, planning to have exchanges, then we play queen times c6, and this can give us a wonderful and potential attacking chances. Let's go back. So we have looked at knight b6, we have looked at knight c5, so we are going to look at knight f6. In case of knight f6, then we begin with the rook e1, c6, we play bishop f4, queen b4, coming for queen exchanges, then we play rook times e5 check. After king d8, then we play queen c2, avoiding the queen exchange, bishop d6, and then we play a3, attacking the queen and asking the queen a question why it's supposed to be. Because if you look at, the queen has only one square, which is b6. After queen b6, we play d4. Now, black has two choices to pick on, which are the most strong recommended moves in the position. We're going to begin with bishop takes e5. After d takes e5, knight f comes to g4. And after rook f1, defending our pawn which is on f2, king e7, then we play h3 and we win a full piece. Let's go back. We have looked at bishop takes rook, so we are going to look at queen times d4. After queen times d4, we play knight e2, attacking the queen at the same time defending the bishop which is on f4. After queen b6, then we play rook d1, pinning down the bishop which is on d6. After king c7, then we play rook e7 check. Remember, the bishop can't take the rook because it's pinned down by the bishop on f4. After king d8, then we play rook times g7. Remember, the bishop has been pinned down by the rook on d1, so it can't take the bishop on f4. So after knight h5, then we play queen c3, sacrificing the rook, at the same time bringing the queen into action. Knight takes f4, queen f6 check. After king e8, bishop f7 check, knight times f7, queen times f7, and after king d8, then we play queen e7 is a checkmate. Thank you for watching, and I hope the video has added something on to you. Subscribe, comment, and like the video to support the channel. Thank you so much.